This is Sandy Minkle. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, and I am with Zach LaValle. Zach, where are you?
Sorry, I'm in Western Massachusetts, East Longmeadow, right outside of Springfield, Massachusetts, sitting on my front porch.
Awesome, awesome. And you have a story about ecosystems of grace that I haven't heard yet. And I would love for you to just surprise us and tell us about this story.
Yes. So this actually happened during our Church 101. When my wife and I first did Church 101, we, I guess to start a couple of years ago, we went through a really difficult church experience. We were youth pastors, and some difficult things happened in a context that very much lacked grace, in a really bad way, lacked grace, and ended up being the thing that kind of displaced us out of that church home. So anyway, fast forward a year and a half or so, and we were sitting in Church 101, and I was talking to the facilitator, Nigel, and he said, he was just asking what we're doing for church, I think. And I said, we're attending a church. And then I started trying to excuse it. I started to say, well, we're attending this one church, and we just switched to another church. And I was sort of stumbling over my words to try to explain away our church situation. And he paused me, he interrupted me, and he said, you don't have to explain your situation. You don't have to explain where you are or who you are. We're just happy to be with you. And it was this really quick, thing. It probably wasn't even a thought in his mind, but it had such a huge impact on me as a newbie in the Luke 10 community, because I hadn't experienced that sort of extension of grace at that level so quickly, because you could tell. I could just tell it was insincere. And there was other times. There are lots of those snippets over the past couple of months where I'm talking to someone in Luke 10 community, and they're extending this grace, and you can just feel the presence of God in that extension of grace. So yeah, but that was the first big moment for me in the ecosystem of grace.
So how did that feel for you?
I felt, I think I felt safe for the first time in a while in a church, in a church community. Yeah, I felt at rest, very suddenly at rest, and I don't know, I could just let my guard down and be relationally safe.
Yeah. So what impact did that have on you then going forward?
Well, one thing was just I started trying to extend that more to people, in more vocal ways, even with my wife, because we were both doing Church 101, but she was having a hard time balancing doing all the work for it and being as consistent as I was being on the sessions. Mm-hmm. And I remember one day I was just you don't have to be on the sessions. No one's if you have to do other things, that's okay. And I don't remember that specific content of the conversation, but I became more aware of the lack of grace, I think, that people are feeling or experiencing. Sometimes it's perceived, sometimes it's real. And so then I became a sort of a champion of grace. I was I want to spread this out. I want to spread this around.
Wow, a champion of grace. I love that.
Yeah.
So what do you see when you say something, when you extend, that out to people, when you are, kind of in your design as a champion of grace? How do people respond to that?
I think often it's probably similar to how I responded in the beginning with Nigel. It was sort of like you're caught off guard. They're caught off guard, and then kind of like they can rest.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's how it would. I mean, there's been people that are. I'm talking to someone just a few days ago. There's a similar situation, and I said, sort of the same thing. It's okay. Like, you can just be here and be you. And it went from like us like talking and this like sort of forced conversation to then like a quiet, but like a restful quiet, and a sort of, I could tell that they were reflecting on it,
Mm-hmm.
and like and resting in it. So yeah, that's sort
Wow.
of what I see in that.
Wow. That is
Because
that.
you don't have, I think there's a serious lack of that everywhere, not just in the church or the world, or I think it's just everywhere. Like, whether you're looking in just culture itself or in most church contexts, it's like it's missing at a high level functioning grace. I think is missing often.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and this just is bringing something in that's really missing. Yeah. The authenticity and the safety, like the safety, of all of that. And
Yeah, even before we started the call and pretended that we just started talking, um, when I got on the call and you said, and I said, I've been running around and I sort of know what I want to talk about, but I'm still kind of frazzled. And you were just like, okay, do you want to take 2 minutes and listen to Jesus and we can pause the thing? And I was like, yeah. And I felt so okay doing that.
mm,
And I think in my history in church, it's like I'm trying to perform all the time. And if this was a different context, I would be very uncomfortable saying, yes, give me 2 minutes to listen to Jesus. But there's a shared grace, and joy and Jesus, like that was sort of an intersection of several of those values that we talk about.
yeah.
But yeah, that was just one more example showing up.
That is so cool. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.